Back in the 1500s, this city that we are in right now in the Netherlands was overrun by Spaniards. There was a massive siege that went on for months. The Dutch lasted, but unfortunately were overrun. Nowadays, you're more likely to see Spaniard tourists all around these parts because this is one of the more famous cities of the Netherlands. This is the city of Haarlem. And no, we are not in the northern parts of Manhattan. We are in the Netherlands, the namesake of that neighborhood in New York City. I want to recommend a place before we continue going on for brunch and a bakery. It's really good for brunch, coffee, and a bakery. I'll pop up an image here as well. So I just had an amazing turkey open-faced sandwich here at a place called La Maru. It's an amazing place. La Maru here in Haarlem. And great iced Americano, and they had great selection of pastries, but I recommend it. So that's my coffee recommendation for today. There's actually a few great coffee shops here, so I'm excited to explore the neighborhood, at least the central area, and to show you the sights like the huge church and the beautiful side streets that are just magical. Here we have more modern side street. So how do you get to Haarlem? It's about a 35-minute train ride away. Oh, not 35 minutes. The past 2 day trips I've done were almost exactly 35 minutes each. To Zaanskans, and the other one was to the city of Utrecht. But this one is actually way closer to Amsterdam Central. It's about 15 minutes, maybe even less. Hello, Nicole. Nice to see you here. Welcome. So we're gonna wiggle our way around the the city. Someone was waving there in the distance. Hey, Kay. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Hello, Miss Fancy. Oh, fancy seeing you here, Miss Fancy. Ron, kumusta ka? Magandang apple. Here, this was interesting when I passed by. It seems like to be a huge children's toy store / play center. Really interesting. Now, we're seeing a lot of shops here, and Haarlem is known for its shopping, which isn't only a modern thing. This is very lively. Seems like a kid's cafe. So fascinating. It's not only a shopping center because of the last few decades with big companies popping in. Here we have a lot of bicycles for sale, but that tradition goes back hundreds of years. This has been, since about the 1600s, has been the center of commerce here in North Holland. Holland. So, and that makes sense because we are close to Zaanskans. If you want to see the industrial might and agricultural might of the Netherlands, you can watch my episode on Zaanskans that I did a few days ago. And you can see how goods went through here because there was a canal that led directly to Amsterdam, and then later on the railway network as well. So here we have a lot of cafes. There's cafes everywhere here. The past few days in Amsterdam, I've been a bit hard pressed finding good coffee, but here they are everywhere. Hey, Vlad says, typical Dutch weather. You either love it or hate it. I am surprised to be having this weather. It's been so sunny the past few days. It was 100 degrees Fahrenheit just 2 days ago. I kind of miss the super hot weather. But my condolences to anyone who has had a tough time in the hot weather. I know here in Europe, there's not that many air conditioning, so it's a bit tough in that super hot weather. Ooh, what is this? Hey, Nicole, guten Tag. Mylene, welcome from San Antonio. It's 100 and dry here today. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Let's see what this is. Stadhuis Haarlem Grote Mark 2. And apparently, oh, this is the town hall. Hotel de Ville. Oh wow. This is the check-in area for the hotel. So this is a pro tip that's given by Rick Steves, Walter's World. If you don't know who Walter's World is, he's a great YouTuber, does very clear, simple, straightforward tips and tricks of traveling to parts all around the world. And basically those two guys, who I trust the most in terms of travel, they recommend actually staying in Haarlem and going by train daily to Amsterdam because you'll save a lot of money. So it seems like these hotels are probably cheaper than what you would spend in Amsterdam. Look at this. This is cool. Wow. This must be modern though. This is not old. Yeah, this is new. Let's see. May 8th, 1945. On this date, Hastings and Prince Edward Regiment, the Royal Canadian Regiment, both part of the 1st Canadian Infantry Brigade, took the surrender of the German occupational forces in the area of Haarlem. IJmuiden, don't know how to pronounce the IJ. I think it's pronounced IJmuiden, and Zandvoort, and restored the liberty of the citizens of the... Oh, the Canadians were here. That's awesome. Hey, let me know the Canadian urbanists here. We have plenty of Canadian urbanists, so there we go. We got Canada shout out here in the Netherlands. Wow, this beautiful architecture. Richard says it's 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's a bit higher. It's about 68 degrees Fahrenheit. But it is, you'll need you need 2 layers. I'm wearing 3 layers right now with the rain jacket. So this is Het Stadhuis. I'm not sure what stad means, or het, but I do know what house means. Right here. And unfortunately this is in Dutch, so I don't know how to read it. But let's see if we can get something out of it. It says that this probably began in 1250, and this was made by Graaf Willem II. And in 1351, something else was built here. Wow. Miss Fancy, thank you so much. Miss Fancy says stad means town. Oh, thank you so much. Maybe the planet Venus is a little cooler, says Dina. Good choice to visit, Haarlem. Unfortunately, you have Dutch weather. Are you going to visit Delft, says Bess. I am giving my time to the Netherlands. That's all I'll say. Every day's an adventure, though. Wow, what is this? Oh, I love just the general vibe of this place. Wow. Wow. So this is where we're located right now, so people can get a sense of where we are in Netherlands. 15-minute train ride away from Amsterdam. Probably be an hour bike ride away, maybe a little bit more. And the reason a lot of people actually call the Netherlands Holland mistakenly is because the most famous and populous cities in the Netherlands are actually in the region of Holland, North and South Holland. Wow. Beautiful. This is a cool bench. Look at this. Wow. If it weren't so wet, I would test it out, but I don't feel like getting too wet right now. 1986. So that's an exhibition right now. Dresses there on display. Beautiful. Hey Curl says Haarlem is a great city. There in 2018, our 35th anniversary, the Netherlands is a fantastic country and we're making plans to return, says Carl. Love your city walks. Oh, I'm so glad, Carl. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Wow, gorgeous buildings. So what we're seeing is a city that was mostly built many hundreds of years ago. There was a huge siege in the 1500s, and then there was a huge fire shortly thereafter. So all these buildings are 1600s and 1700s, and we're walking around. It was built a lot in the Dutch Renaissance style, hence it has a very similar aesthetic to the most of central Amsterdam. Mika, nice to see you here. Deanna says you had pretty good cell phone reception while visiting the Netherlands. Oh yes. Oh yes. Netherlands is known as being one of the best cell networks in all of Europe. About 98% of the country is covered by a cell phone signal. This country is probably one of the few countries that I could potentially do a multi-city live stream. Like literally, like I could start here in Haarlem, go to Amsterdam, and end in Rotterdam if I wanted to. And then the SIM card I have actually works in other nearby countries, so I could potentially do an international live stream if I wanted to. Wow. So here we have the huge church in the middle. This is one of the larger public plazas in all the Netherlands. Netherlands is not known for its huge public plazas, not like Italy or Spain. So take this in, enjoy it while you can, because we won't be seeing more public plazas on this Netherlands trip. I don't think so, at least. Aside from the Dam Square in Amsterdam. Nina says, I can't get over the amount of space in all these countries. Getting used to cramped New York. Yeah, New York does feel a bit cramped, which is a bit weird because America usually is not as cramped. It's just New York, the way they designed it, has that feeling that it's a bit kind of tighter. It's because of all the cars. Right here, back in the 1960s and 70s, this was car traffic. So there were cars whizzing by here, and there's a few historical photos you could probably search up on Google, seeing the cars whiz by. If cars were here right now, then it'll feel more like New York City. We would be relegated to walking by the buildings. All right, let's see if we can get into the church. A lot of these attractions close at 5 p.m. Hey, Dick, nice to see you here. Welcome. So this is Grote, Kerk. Let me know how to pronounce Grote. Glad says the Dutch are really good at urban planning. Probably the best. Yes. Ooh, we got the Frans Hals Museum. Oh, this is cool. So Frans Hals is basically maybe the second best painter of the Dutch Republican era after Rembrandt. Rembrandt is from the city of Leiden, and Frans Hals is from the city of Haarlem. He's definitely the most famous painter of Haarlem. But maybe we'll come back here later. Let's go first into the church. Ooh, there's also the archaeological museum here. Oh, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Wow. Alright, church is this one. Tim says, have you seen the Rembrandt Museum? Yeah, Rembrandt's works is mostly in the Rijksmuseum. And then he also has a house. No, I haven't been to either. I haven't been to any of the museums in Amsterdam yet. All right, let's see if we can get into the church. Hopefully it won't be an issue.
Ja, maar waar schrijft dat? Heeft u een kaartje? Nee, nee.
Mag hier ook komen.
Oh, goed, fijn. Doen we dat. Heeft u een kaartje?
Just to see the church.
Well, there is a concert, so it's not
Closed already?
Yeah, well, it's at 4 o'clock, so you can buy a ticket for...
I think I will, yeah. I think I will, yeah. Thank you so much.
Nee, als het goed was.
Nee, maar het is eigenlijk makkelijk dan als Oké. Die gekoefd heeft van een apparaat.
Nee, die kunt je alleen online uitleggen.
Ja, maar ja.
Dat is de bedoeling.
Oh no, we can pay. No problem. Yes, no problem. Pardon?
Ik wil eigenlijk net aan, maar ik weet in de banken,
Ik wil kijken wat ik kan doen, hè.
Engels, Okay, perfect.
Hi, one ticket, please. How much? Yes, I do, yeah. I can pay via card then.
One, right?
Yeah, just one, yeah.
Thanks.
Yes?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is the Church of Saint Bravo. So Saint Bavo, also known as the Grote Kerk. which is the great church. So things here close really, really early, just in general in the Netherlands, attractions. So even though it's summertime, as the woman mentioned in the front, it's already 4 p.m. that they're already closed. She didn't even want to like really let me in. So do beware. Do come very early for your day trips in the Netherlands. If Amsterdam is your base or Haarlem is your base, day trips do them early. You won't have time for museums if you come in like, which I did already a few times at like 12, you won't have time for museums. Oh wow. So Saint Bavo died in October 1st, 1653, and then this started construction back in 1370 after a huge fire swept Haarlem. Haarlem is very, very sensitive to fires. Wow. And look at that timber roof. Oh my. They're flat in most churches, but they end up making a timber roof that was Gothic style. There's a name for this type of pattern, and if anyone knows, do let us know, but this is a really well-made pattern. Especially for timber, this must have been very difficult to make. Pamela says they believe in family time, that's why things close early. Yeah, I respect that. It sucks as a tourist, but I respect that, of course. Sally says, I didn't miss your live. Oh, Sally, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. Wow. This is so cool. This is awesome. Tim says denomination of the church. Tim, you asked a very hard question. Usually this would be very easy in almost any other European country, aside from Netherlands and maybe Scandinavian countries. It's very difficult to answer that. This was built originally as a Catholic church. I don't even know what the denomination is. It doesn't say here. There's nothing here that indicates what the denomination is. You can pretty much assume it's not really used too much for religious worship. And it's Protestant, just general Protestant. They probably do have a denomination, but trust me, I've tried asking other churches what the denomination is, and they can barely tell me. Johan says the church was attacked heavily by Protestants in 1578. Yeah, no, during the era of the Dutch Reformation, even resulting in the death of one person. Oh no. So right now we are walking on what is entirely gravestones. There's over 1,500 gravestones right underneath our feet. Nina says it could be Episcopalian. No, in the US, you can assume if it's a very well decorated church that is not Catholic, that could be Episcopalian. Episcopalian is derived from the Anglican Church. And there might be a few Episcopal churches in the Netherlands, but very, very few. The church this prominent would not be associated with the Church of England. So it's most likely Protestant, Dutch Reformist, one of those denominations. And the oldest of these gravestones apparently is from the 15th century, 1400s. So apparently they still have services, but it's only during the summer. And it's right here they say it's Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. and Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. They have services. Wow, we are literally walking on the dead. That's cool. You cannot dodge the dead here, ladies and gentlemen. Death is at your feet every step of the way. Left from the fence is a cannonball, says Miss Fancy. Ooh, I will look into it. Thank you. On the fence, you're probably outside. Thank you, Miss Fancy. Oh, not inside. Oh my God. I'm laughing because is this real? It says 1573, so there's a chance. How is it inside? How is it not outside? I'm curious about that. So yeah, there's a cannonball. Potentially from the Spaniards. Those damn Spaniards. To all the Dutch, on behalf of my ancestors, I'm sorry. Oh. I have no idea what this is, but it looks interesting. Deanna says, just to be clear, you're walking on graves? Yep, the entire floor in the church is graves. Seems like pigeons got inside here. Adam says, I cannot believe a cannonball got stuck inside the church. Yeah. Did the Spaniards shoot it inside the church? Wow, Athena left a 20 euro super chat. Thank you so much, Athena. 20 euro super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Athena. Everyone, round of hearts for the very kind 20 euros. Ra says, are you going to the cathedral? Wrong. I would love it. But here in the Netherlands, things close so damn early. And I don't know why. You know, I think in England it was like 6 p.m. so it felt like a little bit longer. This is 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Things close. It just feels too early, so we won't have time to go to the cathedral. Wow, look at that window, very modern. Ross says that one closes at 5. Oh, thank you, Ross. From the town center, do let me know. Tim says the cannonball is 1500s propaganda, maybe. Wow. Michelle says, good to see you. Will you be going to Cologne in Germany? Every day, every new day is an adventure. Michelle, thank you so much for tuning in. Ron says, since things are so early, is happy hour at 1 p.m.? I think pretty much. So Miss Lob says, is Harlem in New York City named after Harlem? In Netherlands, yes. So a lot of place names all around New York are named after place names in the Netherlands. Haarlem, Brooklyn, here it's Utrecht, over there it's New Utrecht. Wieseling, which has turned into one of the stations after Harlem. Oh wow, they had cafes back in the 1500s? Oh, never mind, this is just a new cafe. Tim says, as Americans, anything closing early seems odd. Yeah, it does. I mean, 5 p.m. is pretty normal just in the world. It just feels early in summer and it goes dark so late. It feels a bit early. In New York and in Paris and London during summer months, you can see a lot of things close more at 7 rather than 5. Ron says, is there a place called Bushwick? Yeah, it's a neighborhood in the Hague, Den Haag, Boswick. Search says what other cities are going to visit. You gotta tune in. Every day is an adventure. Ratzel says he's in the church. Hey Ratzel, are you enjoying the church? Nina says, I love that churches aren't spooky. Not this one. Aside from the fact that we're walking all on top of the dead. Otherwise, it's not spooky. Chris says, I love the parking garage for a video. Miss Love says, I went to research the ships. So I don't know the full history of the ships, but the Spaniards and the Dutch rebelled against the Spaniards. So that's why the Spaniards ended up attacking those damn Dutch rebels, trying to take it back for the motherland. Tracy says, what stone is this? I don't know. It is... If any stone experts do know, do let us know. Serge says, can I get raw herring? Yeah, watch yesterday's video in Utrecht. I ended up going and having some raw herring in the beginning. So this also used to be home to the biggest organ in all of Europe. This organ was so big that it attracted musicians like Handel and Mozart to come over here and play. Let's show it to you. Right there. Look at that. So you could just imagine Handel playing that a few centuries ago. Oh, that must have been epic. Okay, Google, play Handel. Alexa, play Handel. Says the sound must be thunderous. Oh yeah. I wish they would play it right now. These churches feel a bit empty, and it's because they're probably not used too often for religious purposes. Miss Lop says the Messiah came on. Oh, cool. That's actually the perfect song for this church. Kay says my Alexa is not cooperating today. Oh no. Oh, this main window that we see here was revealed by Queen Beatrix, who was the former queen of the Netherlands. She abdicated a few years ago and left her son to take rule. It means peace and tolerance. One eye is immediately drawn to the beautiful red cloak of flowers. It represents the cloak of charity and love. Right there. Cool. Nina says, my Alexa is passed out from the heat. Oh no. All right. Thank you. Alright. Search says exit through the gift shop, yeah? Yeah, we had to exit through the gift shop. Wow. Beautiful. Who's this guy? Hey, you enjoying it? How did you find out about the show? How did you find out about the show? Oh my God, that's very good. That's very good work. Oh, thank you so much. Have a good day. Oh wow. So shout out to the kid who said hello in the comments. I was like wondering, like, how is someone in the church knows about the show? It's because the kid saw me live streaming and searched Harlem on YouTube. So shout out. That's very clever of you. That's the first time that's happened. So let's see if I can go into the Frans Hals Museum. So bear with me. For one, please.
Sure.
And can I film inside?
Yes, you can.
Okay, awesome, perfect.
Please don't use flash.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, are you familiar with the two locations?
No.
So, the Frans Hals Museum has two locations. This is the location of the contemporary art. Currently a solo exhibition on Annabella Geiger. The other location, there is where you can find actual Frans Hals paintings and other issues.
Oh, nice. Okay. And I can still go to the second one?
Yes.
Okay. What time does that one close?
Both locations close at 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I should mention I just don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't.
So may I ask where you're from?
New York.
But she has to come because she promised and I visited her. Yeah. And you met her in Italy, right? Yes. What she's doing in England. So she is
Yeah, she's from Malta. She's from Malta and she studied in London, and now she's finished her bachelor's, so she's doing a gap year. She's 22.
Okay, cool. Alright, yeah, put in.
Graag gedaan. En veel succes. Ja, dankjewel. Is gelijk hè. Hoi hoi.
So here they don't have the Frans. I'm gonna skim through this one. It's more modern art. So bear with me. We're gonna do a speed run through this museum. Let me know if you guys still see. Like signal was having a bit issue. Oh, can't see. I can't show that. Yeah, it's not too interesting. I used to do this when I was in class. Oh my god. It's 2 chairs and a screen. It's modern art. Susie says, what am I looking at? It seems like the ring. Okay, it's time to see some Frans Hals. Let's see if we can get to the other museum on time. That's enough modern art for the day. Let's go. See some classic Dutch Renaissance art. Let's go. So which way is Frans Hals? The other one?
It's on the right,
Yeah.
and then before church, go another one to the
Before the
right,
church. Okay.
to the right before church, and it's just all the way straight ahead,
Right.
across the big street,
Yeah.
and it's also straight ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Ambrose says, what do those lockers represent? That's a great question, Ambrose. So that exhibition where we saw the lockers represent that how in modern society we are such heavy consumers that we carry around such a heavy load in our lives. And that when we are met with art that transcends meaning, we have to place our load of society upon our shoulders and lock it inside into a compartment. It shows that all that we have in life is compartmentalized into tiny little boxes, and that we shall forever be locked away in an eternal cycle of consumerism. That's what it means. I have no idea where I'm going. Ooh, this looks like a fancy friet place. Tim says, LOL, I get your humor, Tim. That was not a joke. That was a serious assessment upon the art. You know what they say when you make an assessment, right? You put the ass in an iment. Oh wait, I think it's supposed to be for assume. Never mind. All right, where am I going? Where is this museum? Where are you at? Frans Hals. Osvaldo says, good morning, Ariel. Time to reflect on the more important people in our lives, not the material stuff. Yeah. Semper says, I'm disappointed that you didn't come to Finland after visiting Sweden. Yeah, it was just right there. Just an 8-hour ferry away, right away. But yeah, I do love Finland. Maybe I'll go back one day. All right, give me some directions to somewhere. I'm not sure where. Tracy says, great tour as usual. Red. Oh wow, Red has good memory. So yeah, I did reach out to the Finnish tourism board, but they didn't get back to me on time. Tracy sent 500 stars. Thank you so much. Susie says, ooh, chocolate. Yeah. Oh, I wish I had a secondary phone right now so I know the directions to the Frans Hals Museum. Zen says, just ask someone. You can't just ask someone, Zen. That would be odd. Oh, wait a minute. We're not in Sweden. Okay. All right. All right. We're not in Sweden. Yes, we can just ask someone. In Sweden, you can't. That's just weird. But here you can. Turn right at the end of the street, says Serge. Oh, thank you so much. Tim says, how do I send stars? Thank you so much, Tim, for wanting to send stars. Stars are on Facebook. So stars is the super chats for Facebook. So on YouTube, it's super chat. And the super chat should be the money sign. Let me know, where is it on mobile? Mobile, I think it's below, and on desktop, it's above. Moderators, if you could lead Tim in the right direction, I'd be so appreciative. Kay says, men don't ask, they prefer to go around in circles. That's sexist, Kay. There's no laughing matter. Hey! Wit, nice to see you here, welcome. Turn right. Nina says, sorry, you can't, it's here that you can't ask for directions in Sweden. I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but yeah, it is a bit weird to talk to a stranger in Sweden. It's not so, the Swedes are not really open to a random stranger asking them questions. But it's not the case here in the Netherlands. Serge says, right. Thank you so much, Serge. Appreciate it. 2 rights and a left, says Nina. Huh? Mika says, that's not true. I've spoken to a few Swedes. They told me the same thing. It's weird to ask a random person a question. Serge says next left. Oh, thank you so much, Serge. Yeah, I see it right there. Thank you so much, Serge. I appreciate that. Shout out to Serge for leading the way. So when you're crossing streets here, be sure to listen to to bicycles, because they tend to be silent. Oh, cool. I wanted to come into this area anyway. Miss Lob says, do they have coffee shops here? So this would not be considered a small town. This is a city with more than 100,000 people. And do they have coffee shops? Yeah, there's a lot of coffee shops for smoking. Yes, there's a lot. I've seen maybe 10 today. I've only walked maybe a maximum 15-minute radius. It's a pretty dense city as well, so you'll see a lot of stuff by walking, not too much. But look at these houses. Wow. David sent a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, David, for sending a $10 super chat. I appreciate you. A round of hearts to David for sending a nice, generous $10 super chat. Islam says, yeah, this street is gorgeous. Thank you so much, Serge. So right now we're gonna pass the Museum of History in Haarlem. I went to this before coming, doing the live video. It's very nice, it's awesome, I do recommend it. Especially if you wanna learn the history of Haarlem. Now, pro tip, when you're coming to the Netherlands, unlike, say, England, museums here cost pretty expensive. For the Frans Hals and this one, I'm spending 16 euro. The church was 3. This one I think was about 10 euro, 50 euro. So you can stack up if you're visiting a lot of museums. So do be sure to budget for museums. Susie says immense charm here. Yeah. We'll see a little bit more of it slowly afterwards. But let's check out the museum first. David says Haarlem is Amsterdam light. Oh, that's great to hear. Cool.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right.
That's weird. All right. So Miss Lob says Rembrandt Vermeer? No, right now we're in Frans Hals. So Frans Hals, maybe the third most famous painter of that era. So of course you have Rembrandt. Vermeer is definitely as famous as a Rembrandt. And then you have Frans Hals. Valentine says, will you be exploring the city at night? I may do one in Amsterdam at night, but like there's not that much things to see. It is beautiful to see the canals at night. That's basically the only thing. There might be some nightlife, but it's not as vibrant as other cities like in Paris, London, or New York, or Athens. From my experience thus far. Wow. So Frans Hals Museum is named after Haarlem's best known artist. Haarlem was a bustling city 4 centuries ago, home to many innovative artists. Only a few of those masters could still match the fame of Frans Hals. The paintings of those other Haarlem heroes are the subject of the presentation from our collection. Kay says, was that free entry? No, it was not. The ticket I have includes entry to this museum, so it was a 2-for-1 deal, $16, 16 euro, 2-for-1. There. So this is not Frans Hals. Brian says Leiden is another city that's worthwhile a visit. You know, Brian, I cannot wait to be in Leiden. Yeah. It would be nice to be in Leiden. Just like Rembrandt. Oh, wow. This is cool. This is Zweewerk. We don't have too much time, so we gotta like do a speed through. Davis says a museum pass. Yeah, it's 64 euro. When I asked, it was crazy expensive, but it's here if you're two days. Then it's worth doing a museum pass. But otherwise, if you're here for just a day trip, you probably won't use that museum pass. So as opposed to most of other parts of Europe, say Italy, where they paint a lot of clergy, popes, and people who were the head families, the Medici, for example. And then as opposed to England, where they paint a lot of the royalty, the lords, the queens, the kings, the princesses. In the Dutch Republic, they painted merchants. Merchants were the patrons of the arts. So here we're seeing guys, basically business owners. It's like saying today that the CEO of, I don't know, say a DICE software or a CEO of Johnson & Johnson has a painting with his company. That'll be the case today. Davis says the museum pass is for a year. Really? Really? I didn't know that, David. Thank you so much for letting us know. Do you bring a large bag? Says Serge. Might want to take me too. So here we see one of the few, like, kind of, oh my God. What happened to that person? Is that based on a biblical image? Here we see some religious imagery. Oh, can't show that. Can't show that. Why is everyone fighting? Guys, chill out. It's okay. Oh, I get it. This is purgatory. No, this is not purgatory. Maybe. And this is the birth of Jesus. Well, it says so it was all about money. Well, they patronize the arts, not to resell. It's not like nowadays where someone might patronize Jeff Koons in order to make a big buck out of it. No, back then I assume a lot of these merchants just wanted paintings of their company, of them themselves, the company, the militia. Davis says naked breasts and asses are art. Well, you try telling that to the YouTube algorithm. Someone's having a great day, and someone is having a terrible day. Is this Cain and Abel? Yep. No, it's not Cain and Abel. It's Hercules and Cacus. This one's nice. Charlie Turup. Oh, I like this style. So cool. Okay, I kid you not that a lot of the older Dutch men that I see out in the streets of Amsterdam and these other cities and towns literally look like these guys. Like literally. All they're missing is the huge mustaches. They sometimes have mustaches like mine. They don't seem to grow it as long as they used to, but other than that, they kind of look the same. I think if you're Dutch, and once you pass the age of say 40, you start looking like a Rembrandt or a Hals, or in this case a Gerber. Mathona, nice to see you here. Oh, this one's cool. I like this one. Jesus, cool dude. This is Jean de Bray. Jean de Bray. Hey, Summer, nice to see you here. So let's check out Frans Hals. It's cool. If we have time, we'll check out the other ones, but Frans Hals more important. Wow. No, that's cool. Look at that. These are basically the dudes I see drinking out in the Dutch pubs, aka cafes. Susie says that's like the Friends couch. Oh, trust me, I tried to restrain myself from clapping, like in the show Friends. David asked, did they take it at different moments in time? The portrait, I don't think so. I think they posed. And I think, like Rembrandt, he took like a sketch and then built the painting from that sketch. So I think he made them all pose like that. I'm speculating, so if anyone can let us know for sure, but that seems to be the case. They all posed. The background, of course, is probably, could be real background, could be something that, you know, imagined, but definitely this seems to be posed. Wow. This guy looks like Steve Carell. Joseph says it's as good as the Night Watch. So, Night Watch is a bit more moodier. This one's more brightly lit. I know what you mean. Yeah, it has the same type of feeling to the Night Watch. There's a lot of life in here. And you can kind of see how these painters were somewhat inspired by Caravaggio. I'm speculating, so I don't know for sure. But if anyone can find out, I think these guys had something inspired by Caravaggio. So these paintings right now are mostly from 1666, so 1600s. First half of the 1600s. There's an exhibition called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? They have Marsha P. Johnson in the table, number 11, right here. Oh wow. So Marsha P. Johnson is from the Stonewall riots. She's basically the person who started the riots, in essence, who fought back. Marsha P. Johnson. Christine says this is a Judy Chicago. Yeah, I don't know for sure. It doesn't say here. Let's see. It doesn't say for sure who made this. But it does seem to be Judy Chicago-like. It could be literally Judy Chicago. No, it's not Judy Chicago, but I have no doubt that she's inspired by her. Yeah, it is. It's a response to the dinner party by Judy Chicago. So the dinner party is a very famous exhibition in Brooklyn Museum, featuring all the famous feminists throughout history. But this one is made by Patricia Cairns-Hout. Wow. That's amazing. I recommend seeing this. It was really cool in person. Really impressive, actually. Susie says, where's the painting of women having a feast? Unfortunately, women were not business owners, so they did not pay a guy like Frans Hals to make a painting of them. And if a guy like Frans Hals would paint a group of women, probably would seem weird. It would be bad for his position at that time. I'm speculating, of course, but I would say, yeah, it might be seen weird. And I assume that's why you don't see too many paintings of groups of women. Ron says that looked like Louis C.K. Yeah, he has a similar facial hairstyle. Henrik Vroom, Haarlem, 1640. Wow, that's amazing. Summer says, is this just a video in the museum? No, we're museum hopping, but museums close at 5, so this will be the last one we visit. Then we're going out on the town. So fun fact about Rembrandt, he's famous, of course, for painting a very similar style to Frans Hals' subject matter, which is the portraits or the group portraits of men, usually business owners. But Rembrandt wanted to do this. He wanted to be a history painter. He didn't quite get to be as famous or well known for his history paintings. I'm not sure if he did that many. But he wanted to be known for that, which is very funny. That such a great painter wanted to do something else, and you hear that from a lot of famous artists. Ooh. Oh, this one. I know this one. Also a Frans Hals. 1641. Ah, this one's cool. The hats. Oh, I want to get myself a hat like that for Halloween. Dress up as Peter Stuyvesant. Dutch urbanist. Where can I find myself one of these hats? I'll grow my facial hair just like that. I'll do what this guy's doing right here. There we go. That's the facial hair I'll do. This is amazing. Let's read the backstory on this one. So these are the regions of the St. Elizabeth Hospital in this group portrait by Frans Hals. None of the men looks the viewer in the eye, which is extremely unusual of a painting of this size. Nor do the men appear to react to the arrival of the fifth person, which Caravaggio was also famous for doing. That's interesting. With a few silkful brushstrokes, Hals had externalized this moment in time as if it were a snapshot. No one speaks, but the attention, also the viewers, is on the regent in front of the table. His inspiration seems to come from outside the room. The only action in his portrait is the daylight dropping in. Ah, fascinating. So a lot of other Frans Hals work, and then also Rembrandt and a few others, also like Vermeer. There is no fourth wall. They're breaking the fourth wall. So they're interacting with the painter or the viewer or the person who's witnessing the event, as we saw with the other paintings in the other room. But in this case, they are not reacting. So it's almost like a film, where generally in a movie, narrative film, there is a fourth wall. That's very interesting. Eileen says, upturned mustaches are so hot. Yeah, I mean, I know. Eileen. Miss Fancy says, you can ask yourself what they're chatting about. Yeah. Susie says, yes, let's have a Dutch-themed Halloween. Peter Stuyvesant, one of the most famous ghosts of New York. Wow, cool. Here's another Frans Hals. Ooh, of a woman this time around. This is a portrait of a woman with gloves, an unknown woman in a dark dress with a large white collar. She has a white leather gloves. She wears one and wears the other one on her hand. Hals' loose painting technique to light again. The handling of the gloves, vigorous brushstrokes is particularly characteristic of Hals' work around the 1650s. And this is fascinating too, because Caravaggio, who we saw in Rome, really excellent painter, and Rembrandt was a fan of his, as far as I know. Harsh lighting came from one particular direction, but with these guys, it's very soft lighting. So it's almost like Caravaggio is film noir, which is very harsh lighting. If you wanted to make a film equivalent, film noir, very harsh lighting, shadows and light streaks. And then you have a guy like Frans Hals, who's more like golden age of Hollywood. Those romance movies, Casablanca, where everything is perfectly evenly lit. So Frans Hals was more Casablanca, while Caravaggio was more touch of evil. That's cool. This one has a little bit more light play. Ooh, more Frans Hals. David says she looks like a Puritan. You know, that's what I'm very curious about. I don't know too much about the full history, but the Puritans did dress almost exactly the same. I'm not sure how the fashions intersected, because this right here, it's very Puritan-like. The thing is, a lot of those Puritans in England were inspired by Calvin, who was a Dutch reformist, and some of those early Puritans from America were Calvinists, or they turned Calvinist to the extreme and became Puritan. So fashion somehow seeped its way to England, and then Puritans in Massachusetts wore garbs just like these. Wow. Here we have a dead deer. Okay. And breasts. Okay. We went from businessmen having a lunch to bare breasts and dead deers. Okay. Wow. These are very round. Those are very round. That's not that realistic. This is more Instagram 2022 than real women in the 1600s. Wow. Why did this painter make it so round? So these women together represent various stages of the wine harvest. On the right, a woman is carrying a basket of grapes. In the middle, a woman is treading grapes in a barrel, and a woman is pouring wine into a glass held by another woman. The woman on the far left is only a type of rattle used to mark time for grape trending. Haarlem, where this work was created, used to be called Bacchus Wood because the vines were said to have grown here. This may explain the scene. This was made by Everdingen, Caesar van Everdingen. Wow. David says, the Puritans might have stopped in Amsterdam when coming over. Oh, interesting. Oh, so David's saying the Puritans stopped in that. They left from Amsterdam to go over to the U.S. Oh, thank you for letting us know. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna look into that history. It's very fascinating. Wow. All right. This is epic. Wow. David says, was that freedom photorealism portrait? Yeah, they mix some modern art. Let's look at the history of the garden. The garden, full of history. Old Men's Home was built here between 1607 and 1611, around a courtyard on the site of where Frans Hals Museum now stands. The old residents moved out in 1810, and 135 orphans came to live here. Large trees and fences were placed in the courtyard according to lore. The children used the 1759 sundial. Oh wow, that sundial is really that old? Wow. as a merry-go-round. A thorough renovation. The city of Haarlem's art museum opened its doors in 1913. The present-day Frans Hals Museum. Wow, this has been a museum since 1913. Architect Leonard Springer turned the courtyard into a 17th century style garden. Now more than 100 years later, the garden is being transformed once again with the respect for its history and the eye for the wishes of the 21st century. Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Okay, so the promotional items. Okay, so then you need to contact a person called Martha de Vet. That is, yeah, Martha with the E at the end. Marthe, de Vet, VEVET. And her email address will be
Okay, I have to take a commercial break. I'll be right back. Enjoy a little snippet of a Patreon exclusive, which is the Museum of the Three Crowns in Stockholm, Sweden. Enjoy it. I'll be back. Welcome everyone to the Museum of the Three Crowns in the middle of Gamla Stan, which is the old city of Stockholm, right smack dab in the center. And we're going to walk around one of the museums that are located within the Royal Palace. The royalty does not use this anymore, but still kind of symbolically is the Royal Palace. So it hosts a few museums, and right now we are learning about the history of this palace. So let's check it out. So this is the palace from dating back all the way to 1288, or even further back. And we can see it's a bit dark here. Also, I'm going handheld because it was a bit tough to bring extra gear inside the royal palace. So pardon the slight shakiness. I'll try to be as steady as possible. And it's gonna be a little bit dark because it's very dark in here. You can see the rocks right over here. Wow, very, very strong. Different layers too. Let's see what this is. This is interesting. This is Layers of History, which I just said. The brick vaultings are from the 1530s during the reign of Gustav Vasa, who was the father of the Swedish empires. The remains of the 14th century oven, that's cool. 1300s oven, that's awesome. Can be found under the granite foundations. Wow. Bone remains of sheep, pigs, cows. This tells something of cooking in the castle in these medieval times. Look at that, wow. We found sheep of animals. Wow. So that was a little sneak peek preview into one of the many patron exclusive videos, super urbanist exclusive videos. That one was of the Royal Palace in Stockholm, Sweden. It was 3 museums in one video because they were all in the same palace. So we get to see those cellars. We go over to the treasury so we can actually see the crown of the Swedish kings and queens. And then we later up go into the apartments of the royalty of Sweden. Really, really cool. It's like the Versailles of Sweden. If you want to check those out, go become a patron, patreon.com/urbanist, or you can press that join button on YouTube right now, or press that become a supporter button on Facebook and get access to that video and many, many others, including bonus videos of the Netherlands coming up soon, including the Museum of Self-Playing Instruments from Utrecht. So let's continue walking around here in beautiful Haarlem. Look at this, wow. Gorgeous architecture. And it was so awesome to enter the museums. I've wanted to do that for a while, to be able to live stream and museum hop. Problem is, in most places, anywhere, most places, there is not good cell phone reception in museums. And there's risk. And then, especially in the US, and some countries, maybe like France or Spain, doesn't allow filming within museums. So it was such a blessing to be able to film inside the museum. 3 museums, no less. Hey, Ron says, are we dunking anything on coffee? I already had 3 coffees today, so probably no more coffee. Unless if we find something interesting. Wow. David says, the beauty of it all, no cars coming through. Yep. So the Hals actually has their own cafe. That's nice. Frans Hals, sorry. Hyde says in 1,000 years this would be underwater. yeah, you gotta enjoy it. I mean, Earth changes all the time, so you gotta enjoy things while they last. That's right. Ron says, never enough coffee, Ariel. What more to beat your 7-hour live stream? Ron, the cell phone reception is so good here in the Netherlands that don't tempt me to do a multi-city live stream where we go from city to city. We hop today between museums, but I'm so tempted to try hopping between cities. Anthony says the quality connection is great. London, not so much. Yeah, not so much with London. Wow. I love that they do the benches outside their homes here as well. Now, one thing that fascinates me about about the Netherlands are the windows. They're so gigantic. So luckily I can point the camera towards these windows because they have blinds. A lot of them don't have blinds. And as an American, I have to like resist with everything I have to not peer in. Of course, I would never invade someone's privacy, but it's something just like natural to do as a American or Puerto Ricans as well, just to look inside. But here, you're not supposed to. But the windows are so huge and they're clear, so they're not frosted or anything. I'm so amazed by that. And also, they look like they were. Some of them look like they were windows for businesses too. So this right here is 1619. You see, some of them are businesses. Look, they're just houses, and they have gigantic windows that make them look like if they were businesses. Ron says, what's the Dutch secret for keeping windows so clean? I don't know. Apparently in Dutch culture, there's a big importance on cleanliness and tidiness. So that might explain why houses and streets look so tidy. Wow, beautiful houses. This must have been a carriage house with a door that big, or some type of warehouse. These windows are so gigantic. Oh my god. This literally behind me is someone's home. Look how gigantic those windows are. They have no blinds. The person was, I saw for a few seconds, the person that was there just working. Wow. Anthony says, I just read an article on the BBC how Northern Europeans are more comfortable with no blinds, while in Spain they're adamant about having blinds. Yep. Also in Puerto Rico, some parts of the US. New York is now getting more inspired by Northern Europe, but generally people like their blinds, their curtains. In Puerto Rico we have, I'm not sure what they're called, but shutters where you roll them in. David says, I love the fact that you can leave your bike outside. You can, yes. They are tied. So some of them, sometimes you might not see them tied, but you see this one is tied. They're always tied, the gear. So someone can steal it, but they won't be able to run with it. Or they might need to snap off the cables. It'll be just tedious. But yeah, people leave their bikes outside. And here we have a Main Street. Wow. Lots of clothing stores in this city. And there's a few independent boutiques. Wow, look at this building. I wonder what this was. Is this a theater? It's huge. Beautiful bay windows. Wow. Evalu says, hey, how wonderful. Ah, yeah, Evalu, hey. Nice to see you again. Is there any other place in Europe with windows these big? Do let me know. I think these are the biggest windows I've seen in Europe. So here we have one of the many cafes. These are the places where the Dutch go to drink. So yeah, sometimes they look a little bit more like a bar, especially inside, but the cafe is very similar kind of to Paris. And they have small bites. They usually have apple pie, bitterballen, which are these fried balls with like shredded meat and cheese together. It's like a croquette. And good beer. Sometimes they have Belgian beer, which is, the Belgians really do make good beer. Yesterday I had some amazing Belgian beer in Utrecht, and oh my God, it blew me away. Wow. Tori says, this looks like one of the older neighborhoods in Manhattan. Yeah, there is a bit of a similarity with the West Village. So the West Village pretty much still looks like how the Dutch set it up to be. The Dutch did not replan the West Village. They used the same trails as the Lenape. And then when the British came, they just followed the same street grid, or the lack of street grid that the Dutch used for the West Village. So yeah, there is a bit of a West Village look to this. Anthony says the biggest windows are in Bill Gates' house. Ooh, I want one of these. Look at this. That's cool. Evil says, mind the traffic, yeah. A lot of bicyclists. Look at that. Wow, these bicycles look so cool. I want one of them. There's a barber shop and a coffee shop? That's so interesting. What? Or place to drink coffee. Wow. Look at that. That's so cool. That is amazing. So it's a barber shop and a coffee shop at the same time. Isabel, thank you so much for 50 stars. David says the Dutch government encourages small business. Yeah, it's very evident just walking around. More of the smaller clothing stores. A lot of cool clothing boutiques here. The Dutch, as opposed to the Scandinavians, like more their colorful clothing, which is awesome. Brian says one thing European cities show you is that population is highly overrated. This city has more vibrancy and urbanity than places many times its size in the U.S. Yes. So in the U.S., if you were to go to a city with 100,000 people, there would not be a main street. There would be maybe one main street, but people are parking. So you'll hear a lot of car traffic passing back and forth. But here, otherwise, you see people in a city like Amsterdam actually walking around. David Hutchison says, show the bike shop. I'll show it from the outside. It's nice. Hey guys, I'm making a video about the city of Haarlem. Can I show the bike shop?
If you don't show me, then...
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Just out of curiosity, which one's your most expensive bikes?
Most expensive.
Yeah, the luxury ones.
Well, these two are like luxury bikes in the sense that
cool.
they're quite expensive for what they are.
Yeah.
At around 5,000-6,000 each.
Wow, really? Okay.
Otherwise, on top, like everything that's
Yeah.
on top of
Yeah.
the shelves is
Oh, I see.
generally more expensive than you would expect.
Oh, that's so cool. What makes them so expensive?
Yeah, it's really well built quality and built on order, so you can choose every component that's on the bike.
Oh, cool. So you can customize it if you want
exactly.
to. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what company is this one?
This is Santos.
Santos.
In
Okay.
New Vennep, in close to here, so you can also visit the factory if you want.
Oh,
and do
really?
test
Oh,
drives and
they're based in Haarlem.
yeah,
Oh.
all New Vennep, so it's close.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, wow. And then what's around the gears? Is that actually wood around the wheel?
No, it's just a colored sidewall.
Oh, colored sidewall. Oh, wow.
For the looks.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Santos. What's the name of the bike shop?
Bike Planet.
Bike Planet. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Have a good day. Wow. $5,000 for a bicycle. And yeah, it looked very fancy. So he said that there was a factory here in Haarlem, and that you can actually tour it. And that's awesome to hear. So, if you want to see how $5,000 bikes are, you come to Haarlem, go to the Santos factory. Colleen says, I will need training wheels. You know, I haven't, before Copenhagen, or Seattle was when I first tried to bike, and that was only once. So Seattle and then Copenhagen. Before that, I didn't bike for nearly 20 years. So it became easy, especially in a city like this, Amsterdam, Copenhagen, very easy to bike around. Seattle, since it's so empty and there's barely a soul in sight, also very easy to bike around. Wow. So a lot of the cool thing is these are stores, but people still live above these stores even on the main streets. It's kind of cool if you are someone living on the main street, the fact that things close early, because that means you won't have noise all the time. So this is one thing I've noticed. A lot of these boutique stores have coffee. Clothing boutique stores have coffee. Susie says, I used to ride my bike religiously, but one day I fell and that was the end. Oh no, Susie. And this was in New York. New York is scary to ride a bike with all the traffic. Cyrus says, wow, so many bikes, no wonder it's so pollution free. I haven't seen the pollution data, but I would imagine it's lower than New York or Paris. Yeah. So he says around Williamsburg, Greenpoint, Bushwick. Oh yeah, those are a little bit easier to bike around. Ron says, I bet you can bike on the sidewalks of Seattle. They didn't seem too restrictive in that case. I did see a lot of people biking casually on the sidewalks of Seattle. Yeah, that's for sure. Wow. David says the Netherlands is so clean. Oh, yes. Super clean. But it wasn't always like that. The Netherlands used to be a car cluttered, drug infested country back in the 1970s. Similar to the hardship that the US experienced also in the same time. Unlike the US, Netherlands cleaned up significantly. Its drug problem has gone way down. And also, there's no cars. There's not that many cars. So a lot of these cities were brought back to cyclists. So while Netherlands has been associated with the bicycle since the birth of the bicycle in the mid 1800s, it wasn't always like that. It went very pro-car from the 1950s to about the 70s. And then they rebuilt all that bike infrastructure and made it even better. So a lot of the argument that people say when it comes to the US is A, the US is too sprawling. And yeah, that is a big issue. It is sprawling for many, many cities that are not New York, Boston, Philly, maybe Seattle and Chicago. Aside from that, a lot of the cities are very sprawling. That is a big issue. But the other complaint that people say is, well, we're too dependent on the car. The car, there's already too many roads or too many highways. We can't possibly make a society with bicycles and trains. Yeah, you can. The Dutch showed that happen. There's a lot of great examples. Also, the Danish did that. They end up densifying even more, especially the newer cities like Rotterdam. And then B, they convert a lot of the car infrastructure into bike and tram infrastructure and rapid bus and a whole host of other public transportation options. They redid that. So I think in the US we can do that. We have to start with our cities that are already properly dense, like New York, like Long Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, Seattle, Chicago, you can re-densify those cities and make bike friendly in those cities. With the weather, it might be a little bit harder, so we have to use more public transportation, but still doable. David says it's not fun to bike in the rain. David says, yeah, it's not fun to bike in the rain. Yeah, but people here do it. I was surprised. It was raining heavily earlier, and you saw people biking casually. Ron says, when are you going to visit Omaha? Ooh, the great Nebraskan adventure, Omaha and Lincoln. Stay tuned. One day there'll be the great Nebraskan adventure. Ooh, shawarma. All right, who wants to have a nice coffee at the coffee shop? Wow, cool. Esfield says, is Omaha bike friendly? No. No, not at all. I think the very few cities that are bike friendly, I think there's maybe Denver, Colorado, I think. I heard that was. Seattle's becoming more and more bike friendly, as we saw. New York. There's a few cities in the US that are bike friendly. Not to the extent of Netherlands. No, not yet. Tim says, so many coffee shops, everyone must be high. No. So here the rate of cannabis usage is much lower than the US. Think about that. Here you can smoke as easy as having a drink at a pub. And the usage is less than the US. It actually reduced after they started tolerating it. So maybe we should learn from the Dutch and its policy with tolerance. Because it does work. It does work. Once it's so casual and so easy to just have a smoke, it kind of gets boring. You kind of don't want to do it. And, you know, the fun is kind of sucked out of it. So some people will keep on doing it. Like some people keep on drinking. Some people will abuse it, unfortunately. Like some people abuse drinking. But the point is, statistically, overall, once you start tolerating cannabis, it starts going down. WJ says, by the time you're 25, you're over it. Yeah. Okay, let me know if there's anything else here in Haarlem to see or do. I feel like I'm walking in circles. Maybe I should go a different direction. Let's go on the main street. Any Dutch urbanists, let me know if there's anything else to see. There was one museum, starts with the T, that's already closed, but that one is one of the older museums in the entire country. I wish it was still open. And then the sand dunes are pretty far away. And today's not the best day to see sand dunes because it's still raining. But yes, there are sand dunes in Europe. And I think the only place they are in Europe is right here in the Netherlands, continental Europe. So excluding maybe Malta. I.E. Reba says the usage is less because they're less stressed after bike riding. Yeah, bike riding does feel very calm after you get used to it. Zen says the central station is pretty. Oh yes. Robert says cannabis is still legal in most of the U.S. It is. Problem is you can't go to a spot to smoke. You either have to take the risk of doing it in public in the park, and there is a legal risk still, or you have to do it at your home. It's okay. I get it. But I think there's something interesting about the Dutch allowing cafes, places that you can't smoke inside. It is very interesting. Imagine if drinking is legal as it is in the US, but bars were not allowed. Imagine in the entire US you cannot have a bar, you cannot have a restaurant serving alcohol. I would say you still have issues with young kids buying too much and overdoing it. Wow, look at that building. That's really cool. Wow, look at this bookstore. Wow. Het Beroepshuis. Susie says, when are you having dinner? Oh, I ate shortly before this broadcast. So not at the moment. Veronique says you can check out the sand dunes at Svenigen. Oh, did not pronounce that. Svenigen Beach. Kami says these walks are enchanting. Look at this garden. Wow. Ron says, would you say that prohibition in the 1920s led to more shenanigans? It did, yeah. It led to more crime. It led to the birth of organized crime in the US. It led to high amounts of alcohol abuse. It also led to the proliferation of unsafe alcohol that led to the deaths of countless people. Because when alcohol was illegal, people would try to produce alcohol, but not know what they're doing, or do it with very poor materials or lack of safety and concern, that they would be poisoned. There was an incident in Red Hook, Brooklyn, where 20 people died in one night because they drank a bad batch of moonshine, which is illegally produced alcohol. Susie says, yes, my house for dinner. Oh, awesome, Susie. Is haggis on the menu? Ida says, is this a private garden? I can't tell for sure. It is fenced off. So it doesn't seem like there's really any path in here. David says, the beach is in Den Haag. The Hague. Okay, thank you so much. Steven says Harlem reminds me of Boston. Oh yeah. Boston is a gorgeous city. In my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful cities in all of the US. Chris, thank you so much for tuning in. Wilmy says maybe a canal tour. Is there canal tours here? Most of them close also like at 5 p.m. But let's walk to this plaza over here. Check it out. And then I'll bid all of you adieu. Ah, here, yeah, we're back to square one. Go to the train, Tim says go to the train station. Maybe. Are there flies and mosquitoes in the Netherlands, says David. That's a good question, David. I probably have been bitten by one mosquito this entire time. I'm not 100% sure. I have not seen too many, though most of the Netherlands is literally built on swamps and marshes. So I'm kind of surprised by the lack of mosquitoes, though it's also been cold. Behind the trees are the beautiful buildings. Ah, cool. Oh, awesome. This is a gorgeous building here. Wow. So many amazing things to see in this city. So we already went to those two places. And Jacob says, yes, there's mosquitoes and flies. I've seen flies. Yeah, there's plenty of flies. Especially when you start dining outside. But no, I haven't gotten too bitten by mosquitoes. Kat says it's raining and thundering where you're at. Oh no. Wow. Wow. All right, let's go over here because this seems interesting. Wow, we have 12 viewers on Twitch. That is a miracle. I think that might be breaking records. But if you're watching on YouTube, slam that like button right now if you're enjoying this broadcast. I hope you're enjoying these adventures through the Netherlands. And if you're watching on Facebook, share these videos, especially the short ones. Share the short ones afterwards with relevant Facebook groups. That's the way we end up getting more viewers onto these broadcasts. There's a bigger Facebook page, more viewers. I hear music. Oh, this is a beautiful square. Wow, there's so many cool things here. Wow. David says there's no people wearing pajamas outside their house here in the Netherlands. Yeah, I mean, that is the case with Europe. You will stick out as an American if your chosen attire tends to be sportswear that looks very comfy, or things that kind of look like pajamas, or they'll be interpreted as pajamas, like sweatpants and those fluffy shirts. If you wear those, or yoga pants, yeah, you'll stick out as an American. It's not so common here yet to wear that type of clothing. While Northern European countries, especially Scandinavia, wears more athleisure, but it tends to look a little bit more kind of elegant than the typical American athleisure. Everyone, this is a beautiful area of Haarlem, gorgeous city. I recommend coming very early to Haarlem to check out the museums, because Haarlem seems to be really about museums here. But it's awesome to be in the namesake of a great New York City neighborhood as well. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in, for pressing that like button, for sending your super chats and stars. Thank you so much. And to all the new patrons tuning in, we have 100 patrons on Patreon, and we're about to cross 100 again on Facebook. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in right here in Haarlem in the Netherlands, about 15 minutes away from Amsterdam. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep being awesome, and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.